So this is a picture of how the Earth came to be. It is very general, so we're going to go into the other things more specifically later. But basically the universe started out as a big cloud of gas and dust, and then a supernova crashed or blew up or whatever, and then made that big cloud of gas and dust collapse in on itself, and then push out things and pressurize things and start something like our solar system to start spinning, but it's really just like a big ball, another smaller ball of gas, and that starts spinning, and then through that spinning formation, particles and Earth, and planets form, and asteroids and comets and whatnot, and we're going to go into all of this in more detail, but this is a general overview.
This is a picture of the general timeline of from when the solar system formed until present day. We're focusing mainly on the Hadean Eon, which is roughly 500 million to a billion years old. And Hadean is actually named after the god of Hades, and that fits well with what the year started out looking like in the beginning. This time period started 4.6 billion years ago, most likely at the time of the collapse of the supernova.
This picture shows what it would have looked like when the supernova exploded, causing a shock wave in that wispy cloud of gas and dust, which we know as the universe. As you can imagine, this made these particles move almost as fast as the speed of light, which is exactly what was needed to pressure a group of particles into the formation of a condensed mass. With the combination of this shock wave, angular velocity, and gravity, particles started accumulating together. A few million years later, hydrogen started fusing into helium, which became our sun. And then, over the next tens of millions of years, these particles started becoming rocks, asteroids, and what we now know as planetesimals, the smaller particles of what eventually became planets.
These collisions were really not a pleasant process. They were actually really violent. And one of these collisions was actually the glancing collision of pre-Earth and Theia. This eventually allowed the Earth to change dramatically. This idea of the Earth's physical transformation begins to explain what the Earth was made of at that time. Consider how the solar system was formed. The denser planets moved closer to the Sun, and the more gaseous planets stayed on the outer rim. Similarly, pre-Earth was spinning like a centrifuge, causing all of its more dense particles to move to the center and its lighter particles to stay near the surface. When its interior was hot enough to melt the heavy siderophile metals, having higher densities than the silicates, these metals sank. This so-called iron catastrophe resulted in the separation of a primitive mantle and a metallic core only 10 million years after the Earth began to form, producing the layered structure of Earth and setting up the formation of Earth's magnetic field. Also, with the collision of Theia, Earth was a molten planet covered in magma and lava, constantly being attacked with radiation. It didn't become livable until eons later.
Alright, guys, so as a recap, we all know that the Earth formed billions of years ago after the supernova exploded, catapulting the solar system into existence, making everything collide, and making the Earth a giant ball of fire. Thanks for listening!